tip.
Good afternoon. It is August 5th, 2024. You're listening to a little column A, little column B, hosted by Will Leminos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How are you doing today, buddy?
What is going on, Will? We are officially again in a Black Mirror episode. They will sell you for $99 an AI-powered necklace, and it will be your friend. It's a pendant, and you know what? Even if you don't really want to talk to it for whatever reason, it will text you. You wear it around your neck, you go wherever you want to go, and it listens all of the time. And then when you're alone and you want to have a conversation, now you have a conversation with this AI-powered necklace. The necklace is just called Friend. This is a terrible idea, right?
Well, do you have any friends or not? I have a podcast I do with somebody pretty regularly, so like I'm in no need of this. But you know, if I didn't, I can't see it. No, I'm trying to argue for this. We don't have a whole lot for the podcast here, so I'd like to go back and forth with something, but this is ridiculous. I don't want to wear anything for one. Like how useful does something have to be to wear? Like the watches are even pretty limited right now where, you know, if you're playing basketball, you really shouldn't be wearing the watch. It's a weapon out there. And as well as it's something can get caught on and you wouldn't have gotten that injury if you weren't wearing it. And what is the payoff of actually wearing it? It was a couple calorie counts, some steps. I don't know. I just don't like the idea of having to wear something. I don't see enough of the benefit of any of it. Headphones are about as far as I'll go. Sunglasses, that headgear, that's okay. But you know, this sort of stuff, beyond just what it is, I don't want to be wearing anything. I mean, do you even wear a sports watch or a smartwatch or something?
I have the Fitbit. I'm not interested in getting any smarter, but the things that you just mentioned are exactly why I like to have it, because when I do play basketball, I want to know how many steps and how many calories I'm burning, because it's by far the most physical exertion that I get. You know, 2 hours, and it's a lot. I burn a lot of calories when I'm playing basketball.
You've never struck anyone with it? No one's ever gotten hit with it? Never
No.
got caught up on anything? No?
It's gotten caught, I would say, once every other month. Somehow it kind of just like gets caught somehow, and it'll fall off and just scoop it up, put it back on. So it's not frequent. It's not every week it's happening.
Yeah, nobody's playing defense in your league. That's why. There's just a bunch of open shots.
I wish that was the case, but no, that is not the case.
One of the guys.
But this is totally different. This is it has function. At the very least, just like a watch from 100 years ago, I can look at my wrist and know what time it is. I can know the date. You know, other simple things, not just that. But this necklace that we're talking about is going to talk to you. It's going to listen, and it is going to tell you exactly what you want to hear. And you were kind of going down of, well, I already have friends. I don't need this. All right, no, I get that. But I feel like we're going to be coming into a younger generation that, rather than making the effort to go out and make friends, or you don't think it's safe to go outside, now you're going to have this thing be your friend. No friend is ever going to be able to compete with something that's been tailored to be like the best possible friend to you. It's never going to argue with you. It's never going to tell you that you're wrong. It's never going to question your beliefs or push you to be a better person. Like, that's kind of a good chunk of what having friends is about.
I actually disagree. I don't think it's going to agree with everything. If anything, you're going to be annoyed. You ever had that friend who's always right? Yeah, that's this friend. That friend's not cool. We don't like that friend. Or at least you like it in limited time. It can't just be, all willy-nilly anytime, full day sort of stuff. But that would be more of my red flag. I'd be like, all right, I'm never going to teach this guy anything. This is a one-way street where I am constantly the student. I don't think I would be all right with that. Would you be all right with that? I mean, you're looking at it as like...
That's an interesting angle. I didn't really think about that so much. But the whole idea with it being, artificial intelligence, it's supposed to get smarter and smarter. But I wonder if by learning your habits and learning, your mannerisms, and like you said, of not liking, the smart aleck in the room, if it gets smarter and smarter by acting dumber and dumber to make you feel better as the human of, oh man, look at my friend here. He's such a dummy. I'm way smarter than this necklace.
Do you think it would be... Oh man, this is crazy. I don't want to do... This is going to happen is what the problem is. It's going to be like, hey, do you want to trade friends for the weekend? You want to take mine for a spin? I'll borrow yours. Just see.
Oh, that'd be weird.
And it's just like, oh my God, how do you live like this? This thing was so annoying. And you're like, this thing's tailored perfect for me. I don't know what your problem is. And then it's like, you realize this is why you can't be friends with that other person. You just found out. That's the real
What?
reality. Maybe this is how you find it, whether or not you could be compatible. Is you'd be like, hey, I really got along with your AI best friend. Maybe I'll give you a try. This is the new dating game. That's what it is. This is
See, that is one path for the the Black Mirror episode. The angle that I'm thinking of is not so much that you'd switch, but now I have the pendant. I'm wearing it around. You and I, we go to hang out, and we go for a hike or something, and it listens to all of our conversations. And then I get in the car afterwards, and it says, "I don't think you should be hanging out with William as much anymore.
yeah, that's
I think you should be hanging out with me exclusively."
what. I mean, what if they got smart enough to realize that I'm not helping you anymore, and that it's not even the dumb friend anymore? It's the you shouldn't be talking to me as much, or like, have you seen your usage rate with me today? Your on-screen time with me is off the charts. Go outside. Like I'm turning off. You can wake me up. I'm taking a nap. I'm taking a virtual nap. You're gonna have to figure this out. It's for your own good. Like, do we reach a point to that, or is it constantly always gonna have to be sticking its nose somewhere and trying to find something to fix?
I think it's going to be programmed that's going to try to fix stuff all the time.
Yeah, that's gonna be annoying. I couldn't do it. Someone's gonna do this though, right? Like, I'm not saying we know someone.
$99. It's out. It's for sale.
That's not even. You need. Is it like attached to a phone? Like the thing you're gonna run into more of a problem is like, is it cellular data? Does it need Wi-Fi? Because then it's limited if you go somewhere without. Or is it all just entirely built in? Like, is it just that smart?
I don't know. I guess it's not technically all the way out. It can be pre-ordered right now. They'll begin shipping in 2025. So 6 months to a year. This is going to be a thing.
Do you think if they just took the email list of all the people that are looking for friends and shared them with the other people looking for friends, that they could become friends?
That would be interesting. But like I said, I think it's going to be really hard to beat this machine that is just like the optimal friend for you.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I suppose my social media is tailored to this. I just don't want my friends tailored like that. Like, I'm fine with saying I don't want this in my algorithm. I want more of this. I'm all right with that. I don't want to be telling my friends that, though. I want you to be who you are, and it's either fine or not fine, and either way, I don't really care. It's fine. But
that's what I mean. And this is just, it's a Black Mirror episode, and there's a bunch of different pathways, as well as we just continue to go down this road of instant gratification for whatever you want. Amazon, two-day delivery. Like, we're all getting very used to that. Anything you need, you go on Amazon, you order it, a couple days, it's at your house. You're hungry, boom, food will be at your house. Depending on where you live, in 20 minutes, an hour, whatever kind of food you want. Chinese food, pizza, boom, it's there. And now it seems like we're going to, I need a friend right now. Boom, okay, well, here it is. In a little while, you know what? Not so much. You move on. But if you want it immediately at that moment, I want to talk to somebody right now, and I want there to be no effort, no friction. I want it to talk back to me right now.
yeah, I think it's too much knowledge. Nobody should have that many questions. It's really what it was. You should figure out some stuff on your own. All right, have we milked enough out of this? This is August.
So.
This is an August podcast here, so we're gonna do our best to get through. We're gonna do some Olympics. Track and field has started. I know we were track and field stars, not really stars, but we were on the track and field team. There's something I don't really miss about it, and yet there's something immediately exhilarating about all of the races. And then even like the pole vault. I don't know if you caught that today. It's like when it gets down to the end, and you remember this, where you were just waiting. Everything was done. It was wrapped up, and it was like the high jump ended last. It's like, oh, is this going to be the team that this is going to need this jump to put the team over to this and all of that? So like, I do like track and field. I'm immediately impressed by everybody. Everybody's just so good. It's incredible how everyone's good. Any particular track and field event you want to talk about?
The men's 100-meter was unbelievable yesterday. Did you see the finish?
I saw the photo of the finish. I didn't actually catch the race.
That's really what you need to see, as well as, of course, it's only 100 meters. There's a race that's over in less than 10 seconds, but you see the picture at the end. It is so unbelievably close that the announcer totally got who won incorrect. I don't blame him at all. It it was pretty much impossible to see. It's like a photo finish, you know, times a photo finish. It was just a crazy finish, as well as I saw some people had gone back and looked, and Noah Lyles, who ended up, he was the American. He had definitely been talking trash, but ahead of time, you know, that he was going to win, and then got beat in the preliminaries, that it wouldn't happen again. So he was able to live up to it. But they had looked, and he did not lead any of the, you know, the 10-meter increments until the last step, the most important one. And wow, just what a finish! I think, I mean, that's like why you're watching the Olympics. Is, you know, how often are you watching track and fields? Like, not very often. Where here was the opportunity, and boy, did it live up to the excitement.
It's so fast though. I want it to be longer, and then when I watch the longer races, I'm like, hey, can we just get to the part where it's a photo finish again? And it's like you gotta wait. You gotta have patience. It's not gonna happen in 10 seconds. It's so fast and it happens so instantly. It's great to see the competition be that close, because that's really the only entertainment this can happen at that outside of a world record. I think that's one of the reasons I like swimming a little bit more, is I like seeing the line get chased a little bit more frequently. And at least when we have athletes like Ledecky out there, like, that's just fun. Like, she's on a different screen.
Just absolutely annihilating
not
the
even
competition.
close. Not even close to anybody.
Like you said, wasn't even in frame. Like, how I don't get how she's just so much better. And they're showing, you know, here's the world record for these events, and it's her like 20 times in a row before you get to the next person. And it's amazing.
The rest of the athletes are lucky Ledecky's in this era where we can afford 2 cameras. Otherwise, what would they do? It would be, if there's just one camera, they're going to be like, did she race alone? Like, if you went back and watched the video and there's only one camera, you never had anyone else in the frame. You'd be like, what is this? This look like a bootleg video. But, you know, luckily, you know, they came in today's era. They can get a little bit of credit for qualifying for the Olympics. They're still really talented. Everybody's obviously worked really hard to get here. But, man, she is on another level. I think that's the most dominant thing I've seen so far. Have you thought of any other athlete throughout this Olympics? That's easily like the one, right? Just no one has been close.
Yeah, no. It's just so tough. I mean, we talked about it last week. There's so many events, and I'm watching Gold Zone, and I'm trying to watch as many events as I can. But she's the one that very much sticks out as just being way, way ahead. But I'm sure there's going to be some other events where something's going on. I watched a lot of shooting this past week.
A lot of target practice, a lot of different forms. Whether it's those very modern bows, I don't know how else to describe it. I don't know enough about anything, but they look very, very futuristic.
There's so many attachments. There's so much going on to keep those balanced.
That, and then the eye guard, like magnifying, like little thing that looks way overdeveloped. That I'm like, is that necessary? I guess if it were a use case, it'd be a good time to use it. But very, very over the top. I did see, what was it? It was a Turkish gunman.
Yeah. Yep.
Hand in the pocket, regular glasses, no ear protection, no magnifying center dial eye patch, nothing. And he's going home with a silver medal and a hand in his pocket the whole time. Just I don't know anything about shooting. I do understand the competition of it all, but man, did he make a lot of that stuff look very unnecessary. If you were to enter this competition, would you go more his style or everyone else's style?
I mean, I clearly don't have the natural ability that he has, and I don't exactly understand why he wouldn't go for the other stuff, but it sounded like he was very confident and just said, no, I know how to do this. I can see, if you know, you have the eyes, that it works, and this is you're able to do things that other people aren't. But it seemed like not having ear protection, that just seemed like I didn't quite get that part of it.
Yeah, do you think this guy offered to sit in the middle seat on the way there too? It was like, no, I nothing, don't need that.
Yeah, I would like this as hard as possible.
Yeah, it's impressive, and it's certainly legendary, especially where it's like there's not one other person who was even close to being that lowered down with the accessories. Like, everyone had everything else on, and that just makes you think that's generally how it goes, right? Like, you're clearly an outlier here. This isn't. I don't think you go to other contests and you're going to see guys like him there. You're going to see everyone suited up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, big time. It's like going to, go play pickup and there's a guy wearing jeans. It's like, well, what's this guy doing? It's either he has no idea what he's doing or he is so good. Where it's like, why don't you wear shorts? Like they're very readily available.
Some people like it challenging.
Yeah, I guess so. Another gold medal winner, another American. I want to shout out Kristen Faulkner, who won the cycling road race for the women. And I was doing a little research. I had heard it was a shocking upset. It's like, okay, like let me find out about it. Yeah, she didn't even know she was going to be racing until 4 weeks ago, when uh another competitor dropped out and she was able to take her place. Can you imagine? A month ago, you don't even expect to be going to the Olympics, and then you win the gold.
I heard a lot of stories about athletes. I think it was a track one. He was talking about how she didn't even make varsity like for her high school team. Her team never went to state. She never made it to like an important race, and then she went unrecruited and wasn't like offered any scholarships or anything for college. And then she was a walk on for her team there, and basically said all of this and was like, but today I woke up an Olympian and I'm going to race for Team USA. And it's like, oh yeah, that's awesome. Like that's crazy of just where everyone's coming from, and that it's not always, nobody's a LeBron James from the start. It's just like an expectation of you the whole way. It's a lot of grinding. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of nobody thought you would ever be here to do this. And look at where you are now. That's not just our country. That's every other Olympian for every other country participating in this. It's incredibly hard to get here. And it's been impressive so far. I haven't seen anybody look like you shouldn't be there yet. Maybe some of these basketball games with Team USA where we make some of these other teams look like you're just not there yet. Like it's all right. But as we'll talk later, I'm sure you got some thoughts on the 3-on-3. We might want to make some changes to some stuff there. But is there any other Olympic stuff you wanted to get to before we get to basketball?
Still loving Gold Zone. They're still doing a great job, day after day. Barely any time off. So yeah, still enjoying that. I think they're doing a great job on the wraparound, and just a really good way to make sure during the day there's so many opportunities for medal matches, and it's tricky to kind of keep up with the schedule. So for them to just give it to you, and I'm able to see sports that I might have picked. You just kind of went with the traditional. All right, I'll just watch the beach volleyball. I know that's fun. I know that's exciting. Watch that. But when it pushes you all over to, I think it's new this year, is it's like kayaking, but rather than it being time trials, it's 4 people going head to head, and they just dump them from up high. Where I probably would have missed out on that, thinking it's just like, no, I've kind of seen the kayaking. It was fine. It's like, oh no, this is totally different. This is exciting. So yeah, I think NBC is doing a great job. I've had no problems with the app.
It's been great for me. No issues there. I like that everything's kind of left in the order that it happened, so I can almost say like, all right, I know this is over with, but I know it was earlier on in the day, and it's just like an easy way to scroll through everything in case you miss something. So I like that. I wish the results were posted a little bit more on the app. I know they have the gold medal count and all that, but just even some scores. Like if you want to watch the game, it's here. If you want to know what the score it is, it's also like right here. Or give me an option to like hide that or show me that. But these are nitpicking abilities. For the most part, everything's loaded. Everything's looked good. Nobody's looked lost on camera ever. I've never felt like I had the wrong thing on. It's been easy. It's been good. It's been the way it should be. I feel like I've really been able to watch the Olympics, and every other year it feels like I just watch Olympic highlights because ESPN isn't going to be able to show them on SportsCenter, and where else would you watch it? It's like then you're going on YouTube and you're like, why are there 2 guys talking about this and not showing me what I want to see? That's not the video I want to see either. So it's been nice to have just access to everything, regardless of the day. And Gold Zone, as you mentioned, has been perfect as a kind of a daily update if you're watching it live. But even the nightcaps where the basic cable is showing main events of highlights of earlier, I think that's worked out a hell of a lot better too. And I don't know if just the spoiler stuff has been I've been a good job of not seeing it if I'm going to wait for later, or it's just not happening as much. But I've enjoyed the broadcast of everything. It has me excited for what NBC will be doing with the NBA going forward. And maybe this isn't so bad after all. It's just another damn app, though, right? It's just one more app, one more thing you got to pay for, and then football is going to have more stuff on there as well. And it's like, all right, well, at least it works, right? And then the one thing I want to give everyone a ton of credit for is they kind of listened to us on this, right? This was one thing that really only benefit the consumer. I mean, they didn't have to do it this way. We all wanted it this way, and we kind of got it. Like this is all a great idea. Gold Zone, that's an entirely user-based idea, right? Like that's something we probably came up with just on here, and look where we got it. We got it. Like that's crazy, right? Like,
We did it. We did it. Success.
It's-
Yeah, that's why I just wanted to mention it, because usually we only bring stuff up when a streaming service is awful, and it's you gotta be kidding me. I'm having trouble with this again. So just want to make sure to shout out that they came up with a new idea. They're executing on it. They didn't bring in people that were not prepared. They brought in actual hosts that have done this before, are the absolute best at it, and said we're not gonna shortchange you. We're not gonna try to cut corners and save money here and just get some like brand new hosts that don't know what they're doing. Like got the best, and they've been they've been killing it.
Yeah, I even checked out the Alex Cooper segment. She was kind of basically hosting a podcast with other SNL guests at some point while they were watching the gymnastics, and there's plenty of pausing in between of all that, so like everyone kind of quiets down when you need to be watching. But what I liked about it was like a hangout, and it made sense that that's the stuff you're interested in, the kind of feminine topics of interest. But again, this is something that didn't exist years ago that we now have. Like this, I think there's more opportunities with things like this where you don't need to be just stuffing ads on everyone's face. Just give us something to be entertained on, and we'll stick around. We'll listen to it. I mean, Gold Zone's got a ton of commercials. I haven't heard anyone complain about that. Like that was my first complaint. Be like, well, you know what Red Zone doesn't have? Commercials. So, like they're gonna trick me on this. It's like they have, because I don't know what I should be watching. I don't know when the next thing's gonna be happening. I'd rather them just take the driver's seat for me. Why do I want to do all the work? I'm already trying to learn 1,500 sports and 1,300 sports names of athletes in a weekend here. Just make life a little bit easier on me. You just take the road for me. It's fine. I'll sit back. All right. Is it time for USA basketball? Are you ready? Are you warmed up now?
I think I am. I think I am ready.
All right. Did we win?
Made it.
Did we win yet?
We made it. We're going to the knockout round. That's good.
All right. Cool. We're winning, right? We're still winning by a lot, right? We're not losing games.
So far, so good.
All right. Well, what the hell's the problem then? What is wrong
Steve
with it?
Kerr doesn't know what he's
God.
doing.
Are we winning? Are we winning by a lot?
How
are we almost?
How can a guy be a starter and then not a starter, but then a starter later on? It's like I get if you want to change the lineup, but I just don't see how you could be good enough to start, but then another game not be good enough to play a single minute. Everyone said, "Oh no, Zach, you're biased because Jason Tatum." But if I was Embiid, I'd be just as embarrassed, and it still doesn't make any sense to me that. And I said Embiid has been struggling, but as a coaching staff, you have a multi-time MVP. If he hadn't got hurt last year, could have won another MVP, and you just can't find a way to use him to the point that you just said, no, we got to bench him, and then decide, actually, no, we're going to start him the next game. And he played much better against Puerto Rico than I think he's played in any of the other games or even the showcase games.
Do you remember so you're talking about the South Sudan game where Embiid doesn't play at all, right? Do you remember the last time we played South Sudan in the preliminary thing that didn't even count? We won by 1 point, and you were like, why did Embiid play so much? Embiid played way too much. Embiid was terrible. Well, guess what? We fixed it, all right? This is good coaching, all right? That didn't work, so we didn't run it back again. We didn't just say, all right, it's an almost 2-time MVP, Joel Embiid. We're going to throw him out there because of blah, 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 and all of this, all right? We're going to put Jason Tatum in there. He's a little bit more versatile, and he's a little bit better of a matchup, which I don't see anybody arguing about the basketball knowledge of all this, where obviously Tatum's a better matchup for South Sudan. Tatum probably would have been able to play the last game as well. I'm not arguing that, but Embiid was definitely not going to be the guy against South Sudan. That's a sneaky team that's really long, really fast, and while if you could get Embiid in the half court on him, I'm sure he'd have the advantage. That team's super fast. He's just going to be dogging it halfway trying to get back on defense. He's just not going to be able to do it. And we have so many other guys. We don't need to have a 12-person roster. We're going to beat everyone with 10 players. We don't need everyone to play. Everyone needs to get used to that fact. There's no other team in basketball that's like, yeah, we play top to bottom. Everybody's going to play.
Then you have to organize the team when you're recruiting them. You have to do it differently.
Why?
You can't bring an all NBA guy. You can't be bringing Embiid all the way to France to then say, nah, you're not playing today. If you're going to bring him out there, you have to play him. Don't waste their time. These are multi-millionaires. Doing this is only going to make it so in the future we are going to dip like we've dipped in the past. Because guys are going to go, well, it seemed like it'd be cool, but I don't want to go out there and then not get played. I'm seeing what happens on the internet. Like that sounds terrible. I'm just not gonna go. I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna go on vacation.
All right,
I'm gonna go play, in Isaiah Thomas's, Seattle league, where it's just the pro-am. Like this is gonna be way more fun. There's no concern there.
Go play. That's fine. We don't need you. We have plenty of guys.
You say that, but we've run into this issue before.
When?
Where we do that, and then in a couple of Olympics, all of a sudden we're not winning gold, and then it goes, well, hold on, we need the best. Let's get the best, and then we gotta get this going. And it's only gonna get harder as the world gets better.
I maybe, and maybe we just still have a lot of players and a lot of options. There's still guys we could have sent there that aren't there. Jaylen Brown's available. We can get him. I'm just saying.
How does that solve the problem if you bring Jaylen Brown and then you don't play Jaylen Brown? You're wasting his time. Don't waste these guys' time.
You're joining a team. This isn't a hired hand here. You're joining a team. A team's going to function like every other team.
This isn't a middle school team, and it's okay. No, it's like these guys have a very limited amount of free time.
I think I could argue you have it more as a middle school team where you want everyone to get a participation trophy where everybody gets to play 6 minutes every game and it's even on the dot, and that we're calling timeout so we can get someone else in there just to do a rotation. It's like that's not competition either. These guys have an opportunity to play for it, and then they've showed up, and Kerr's coached them the way they should be coached. It's the way that the results have played out. You can criticize it every time you want, but the problem is that everybody's good on this team, and not everybody's going to play on this team. But that doesn't mean everybody's bad on this team suddenly. Just sometimes you're going to be in, sometimes you're going to be out. I don't think that these are easy decisions that you're asking Kerr to make here, and that it was just obvious for all that, and your solution is that they should send worse players. That's like, sorry, the coach's job is hard. He's going to make decisions that are going to upset people. They're going to upset players. But sending worse guys just to make his life easier, to make the Stars' life easier, like that's not what this is about. I mean, we're winning games by 20 right now. We're arguing about we're not winning in the right way. Like that's silly. This is all silly. We're still winning. Kerr's not a bad coach until we lose. If we start losing, I'll take it all back. Sure, we screwed something up here. We sent the wrong guys over there. But the guys we got there right now, in any combination you want to put it, we're going to win. And that's why I say, did we win yet? Because what are we even talking about here? We're going to win. Like, you really have doubt that we're going to lose? You think we're really going to be in jeopardy?
I think so. I think Kerr is just making just crazy decisions, and it could mess us up at some point. Now we're out of the group stage. Now it gets a lot more serious. Now it's win and go home. Win or go home. Guess if you win enough, then you get to go home.
I love that they go to all the other events too. Just seeing guys in the background. It's like Edwards at a ping pong thing, or I think LeBron was at volleyball. I love seeing athletes at the other athletes' stuff. It's really fun, and just seeing them kind of sit back and enjoy, because that's what they should be doing, right? Like, you're there.
Oh yeah, enjoy yourself. Go to meet some other athletes. Cheer them on, and you get to be a fan. And there's going to be other athletes. Obviously, the USA men's basketball team, your stardom is at a little higher of a level, but I think you're at least able to blend in a little more than you would be if you were at a say a baseball game in America, where you have to sit in a box. You can't be sitting out with the fans. It would be just crazy. Where this is, you got a bunch of foreigners that don't care about basketball as much as we do, so they're able to just be a little more a little more relaxed and a little more everyman.
When any of these athletes go to the events that they ended up to, is it it's nearby? Is it I handpicked, I've wanted to go see the ping pong? Or is it, well, that's what's playing right now when I'm free? Like, I guess I got to go see ping pong because I'm free between blank hours and that's on. Or you think these were like, no, I want to go see this. I'm excited to go see this. I want this. Like, is it handpicked?
I'm sure it's a combination of all those things, because they're still practicing. They have games, so if the games at the same time is something, you're not gonna be able to do it. But where some of the other sports, swimming is kind of on the first half, where now track and field's the second half, where it's all condensed a little more. Where basketball started at the very beginning, and it's probably going to be one of the last events. So you're going to be there for the longest amount of time. So yeah, I think you probably look at the schedule sometimes and go, okay, I'm free from 2 to 4. What do we got? And how far away is it? Because that's not all the events are in Paris. Like the basketball games were like it wasn't just right down the road. It was in a different city. Where now that's going to the knockout round. Now it is in Paris. So I think some of it is just a convenience factor because I got to imagine traffic is just crazy all the time with an Olympics going on.
I'm sure there's not a whole lot of security that is super excited to be like, all right, so we're gonna escort you across this place through the other security, through the other people's security, just to get you into here. But an event like this, I suppose they're used to a lot of that. But I'm sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of celebrities. That's been the other thing. It's not just the athletes that are over there. I've been seeing all sorts of A-list celebrities that they'll just pan to in the crowd, and it's been interesting to see who has been where. And I wonder, just like you said, is this something that they really wanted to see? Was this convenient for them? What was the thought process here?
I would more want to know like the connection to it all. It's like, all right, so like the tennis coach's assistant is their neighbor's, something, like it's the nanny's uncle's daughter, blah blah blah, is the so and so. It's like, what? Like how? Like, oh, all right. I guess that makes sense. Cool. Maybe it's just random, like you said, where the tickets are a lottery, and you just like, all right, guess I'm going to this. That's what it is.
I mean, at that level, I have to imagine they can hand pick, but I don't know if there's a specific, event that really jumps out to you. Where it's like almost like when we're watching on TV, of, oh, well, I didn't realize I was gonna like this, but I am enjoying this.
You mentioned superstars, and then you mentioned you had some problems with the 3-on-3. Is the problem that we don't have superstars on our team? Like you just are bummed that we're not winning and dominating in basketball in a smaller aspect?
What did you just say about the men's team, about the fives? I can't complain because we're winning by 20. Well, you know what happened in 3v3? We did not win. I guess technically we won 2 games, but we lost 5. Did not make the knockout round. The leading excuse is that Jimmer Fredette got hurt in the second game, so he was the most well-known guy, as well as he was the best player on the team. It came out, I think, yesterday or maybe the day before. He ligament issue. A real injury. I mean, I don't know why anyone would be questioning something like that. It's like he's out there. If he could play, he'd play. But disappointing but that's the way it went. But also, you throw a guy that's on the back end of a prime, and that's when you're more likely to get injured. And a lot of people are asking, saying, "Hey, you're talking about these guys that didn't make the Olympic team. You got Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson. There's a whole bunch of guys you can rattle off real quick that seemed like they would, be a lot better than Jimmer Fredette and a handful of guys that most people hadn't really heard of. So I did the research, and I don't know why it's exactly like this, but for fives, it's just the country has to qualify. So we can have, some G League guys, whoever we want, kind of just enough to be good enough to win. And then at Olympics time, we can bring in, the elite guys. For 3-on-3, it sounds like you have to be the ones that qualify. You can't just qualify for the country and then just bring in 6 new guys. You got to go with that group. And 3v3 basketball happens at the same time in the winter as all the other basketball. So anybody who's thinking, oh, maybe it's some sort of eligibility, we should be sending like some elite college guys. Well, I don't really exactly want to be lending out, Cooper Flag to go have to play 3-on-3 against, Germany in January. Kind of need him for ACC play. So that's why that is. I have a roundabout solution, but do you have any comments before I get into that?
I don't know if Jimmer was hurt. I know you said he was our best player.
Yeah, no, he did. No, he got hurt. He got hurt in the second game.
No. When he was playing, though, did he play hurt? Because I didn't think he was very good. I didn't think he was our best player. I actually thought we were losing our early games because of him, or whatever games he did play. And maybe he was hurt, though. Maybe he was just toughing it out. But I did not love what I saw from Jimmer. I didn't think he made it nearly enough shots for being the shooter he was supposed to be, and his defense was just picked on. We didn't win. So I have actual analysis here. There's actual, like, something didn't go well. I'm not going to argue over playing time of all this, but I I thought they were better without him. We started winning the games we won weren't with him. To my understanding, I didn't watch everything, but what I did see, I didn't love. So maybe he was hurt though. He obviously ended up hurt and didn't play in all of them. But I didn't think he was our best player when he was playing. So that
Well, I mean, if he got hurt in game 2, that means like at most he played, a game and a half, and these games are pretty short. They go pretty quick, and I believe in the note that he put out, it was that game that he got hurt in, he was considered the number 1 3-on-3 player in the world. So my guess is that what you saw was either he was already a little banged up, or that that was just a more of an anomaly than what would be expected if he had
it could be
healthy.
there's not, I didn't watch enough to say like I really got enough analysis and he didn't play enough to say.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
do you have solutions? Do you have a list? Do you have names? Do you know where you want the players to come from?
It seems like there must have not been, because the other angle of this was, oh well, we got the the big 3. It's retired guys. They don't have to worry about the current teams that they're on. The big 3 happens in the summertime. They're definitely mostly on the older side, but I don't know. Maybe there's enough enough there to make something happen. I really think that we have to go straight to the top of this. The next Olympics, 2028, is going to be in America. We invented basketball. We have the best basketball players. We got to change the rules. That's what we got to do. We got to go to the IOC and say, hey, come on. Look what you got here. Look what's happening. You don't think that any of the broadcasting partners, rather than having Jimmer Fredette out there, and you have a bunch of people that go, no way, Jimmer Fredette. Oh, yeah, I remember him from a long time ago. And you could have current NBA All-Stars out there with like a strong following that would just be, appointment viewing. I think you got to figure out a way to get the most elite guys out there.
The problem with the 3-on-3, I worry a little bit, is all right. So it's not till 2028. So like, I mean, half the guys in that 3-on-3 in 4 years aren't going to be even playing in that 3-on-3 league. So it's going to be a next generation. So that's tricky. Like even like Gordon Hayward just retired right now. I know he would probably love to be on a team. And he definitely tried to be on a team. I don't know if this is the direction he would like to go, but I think that's more what you're looking for are floater guys that are just retired or fringe guys that are in and out of the league that maybe are willing to not try to get in the league for a year so they can be in this. But I think that's the biggest problem with this is that unless you do change the rules, like this is a real commitment where you are joining a 3-on-3 league for however many set years to then qualify for how many more sets of years after. And that's, I don't know where you're going to find those guys that are willing to say, I'm willing to kind of hang up this NBA dream to do this. And you might not even win.
Those aren't the guys that we want. Those aren't the guys that we want. We want stars. It's one thing if they're old stars.
How do they do this in the women's?
We don't want guys that are just barely hanging on in the NBA, realize, oh, no, this is my best option is to go do that. Those are guys that you and I are going to know about, but the average American is not going to know. And that's not going to drive ratings.
How did the women pull this off? Because I think
they're not doing well either.
I know, but the players they have, though, are they not? I mean, you said that Cameron Brink was supposed to play. She's in the WNBA. It's her rookie year. But like, how is she?
I don't know.
Is it because their season is at a different time and that she had? I guess that would have been the off season for her, maybe. Yeah, because they play in the summer, right? And then they have
the WNBA. The WNBA does, but college doesn't.
College
so as
doesn't.
a rookie, that part doesn't really make as much sense.
Then how did and then Haley, who's it, Van Lith is she's going back to college next year. How did she find? So she was in college last year and going to college this year. Are they not? Are they just sending whoever they want though? Is maybe that's the argument that they're already letting the women's team kind of do this? Why can't we? Is that how you open the door? Is that?
Yeah, that's yeah. I'm not sure how the women's side of it works. I didn't look into that as much, but it just seems like you got to change this up and make the European guys or the Asian champions, they got to come during All-Star weekend and they play, the 3-on-3 guys that we say, hey, these are the guys you're going to play. And if we beat you, then we qualify or something to make that. So, we have legit like some of our best out there.
You know, it would be interesting if all these other countries. Now this is a growing sport. There's over, I think, 75 NBA players playing in this across the country, and only 12 of them are on our team in USA. So there's plenty of athletes out there playing for these other countries. It would be funny though if some of the teams that just don't have like maybe they only have 3 guys, and they're like, screw the 5s. We have 3 guys. Let's put it in the 3s. Like, we're just putting Jokic in there, our 3 best guys out there. And maybe we just go off, and that's our opportunity. Like if you're Giannis, you got no chance in the 5s, but Giannis in the 3s, like maybe you could find 2 or 3 other guys he could put around him, and it's just a problem then because you're never going to be able to put together a roster. Like it's going to take decades before anyone else catches up to having 12 NBA players on every other country's roster. It's going to be a really long time before that happens. You might have a chance though of having 3 NBA guys in 3s. Like,
dude, I don't even care. Have it grab some of the guys from the 5s. You know, next year, you know, it's going to be in America. That travel will be like a lot easier. But you know, I can see, all right, I don't know if I want to go all the way to Paris, you know, for 3s. Grab some of the 5s, like the same way the swimmers are doing multiple events. Noah Lyles, he's going to be racing in the 200. These 3v3 games are way shorter. It's not like you're, putting like this incredible load on your body and think, oh man, how could you ever, be able to do this? Like, I think it's very doable.
I think that's even more the argument.
Win 2 gold medals.
Like if you're Embiid, it's like, would you rather play the lazy 3-on-3 where it's only half court, you don't never need to get back on defense, or would you rather just get benched some games in the 5s where you're just too slow, or games where you're overused because you're the biggest guy out there and you're just going to get hammered out there because they know you're the giant guy out there. Maybe this is the better NBA deal here. I mean, if you're an NBA team, would you rather have your guy, would you rather have Tatum out there playing 3s right now or 5s?
I think 5 is more prestigious, but I think a good chunk of that is just the history, and this is the first year of 3s.
But purely on he might get injured thought. Like, do you think you're more likely to get injured in 5s or more likely to get injured in 3s?
I think it could happen at any point. Look at the Celtics, like the past, 4 years. What was our biggest, injury? I mean, maybe something with Time Lord, but it was like Marcus Smart punching a picture frame. It was actually Jaylen Brown. Didn't he cut his finger picking up glass too? Like that. Those injuries, like, I think impacted us more than some of the ones on the court. So I think an injury could just happen at any point. What was it? There was a guy that was drafted, a lottery guy that got hurt the first game, and there's these freak injuries, and I don't think that the only way would just be like completely put them in bubble wrap, don't let them do anything, but that's just that's not feasible.
All right, well, what's the expectation then? Like we have to we got to win.
We change the rules. We say, hey, get it together. We want the best out here. Let us put the best out. Let the other teams put their best out. Let exactly what you said. Let some of these teams that have not as much depth, let them make the decision.
Maybe we should let them do other sports too.
I mean, you mentioned Giannis and Jokic. Both those countries made the Olympics. I mean, you got like Luka. Those guys, they weren't even able to make the Olympics. So maybe down the road, you go, hey, you know what? Rather than 5s, let's go for 3s. Let's try to win that.
If you're a country trying to start the sport too, just to try to qualify,
let the boys play.
Isn't it probably easier to just get a team of 3s? Like if you're any country you've never even heard of, yeah.
I just less guys. You'd figure it'd be easier to find 4 to 5 athletes that are able to do it rather than finding 10 to 12.
Well, I'll go even farther. It's easier to set up a half court than it is a full court. I mean, this is you're thinking. I don't know if this is. A country doesn't have basketball, right? And you're trying to bring basketball to it. Well, hey, we need to take up this large area and stick this one thing up right about this high and put it here. It's like where are you going to do that? Like I just think a half court is far less work. I'm not advertising.
Some would say it's half the amount of work.
When you got nothing, it's at least now you could start with this. You're not gonna ever play 5s. I mean,
how many countries don't have basketball?
I don't know.
I mean, the South Sudan stuff has come out of nowhere, and yes, for sure. But I feel like there's a lot of other countries that do have basketball that haven't made it up to the Olympics yet.
Yeah, and they got handball. They got handball nets on each
Canada
side,
didn't
right?
make it for a while.
They're like, why are these big sticks with baskets in the way? We want to play handball here. They've moved the soccer nets over.
And all these people that are voting, and you're not able to get into the gym. Yeah, there's a lot of problems.
All right, is that it? Is that it for basketball? Is that all we got for the Olympics? It's been fun.
I think
I really liked it.
That's a good amount. Yep. No, it's a fun summertime thing.
It is still summertime, as you mentioned. We were struggling with topics, but I think we've done all right. Right, we're already 45 minutes through here. We're going to close out with another summertime draft. This one is going to be best movie sequels, and that is going to be specifically to number 2. So if you were to pick a franchise, you can't pick the third movie or the fourth movie or however many they make after that. It's specifically the second movie, I guess, of the franchise, or in most cases, and I think more successful cases, just the second one, just a standard sequel.
The second one. Yep.
I didn't come up with a whole lot of ones that were just 2, though. How many of your movies actually have a third or fourth or however many more movies after them? Because a lot of mine do. I think there's only like 3 here that are just truly sequels.
Oh, so I came up with 10 because I think we might have some overlap, and 8 out of the 10 have 3 or more.
Yeah, no, it's really your second movie, your favorite second movie of every franchise is probably the more truth to all of this, which is just we've just been franchised out. But this did remind me a little bit.
Popular.
That I think that it's kind of known that sequels are generally supposed to be the weaker and that they're never good, and I think there's a lot of failures of all that. But between this list and between doing some research here, I was actually encouraged. I mean, how many of these movies do you think are actually better in the first one? But is debatable. But I think they're all pretty good movies, though. Like I'm happy with my list of 10 I got written down here. I think you would be happy with probably any 5 of your 10. And
and I tried to go with, especially with sequels. It's always tough to beat the original. Even if it is part of a franchise. But wanted to go with movies that if you were to just pop this in, would you be happy? Or it's like you really should have watched the first one, and then you can watch the second one. And maybe you're not going into this completely cold, like you've never seen the first one, but just almost independent from the first one, you could throw this on and you'd still have a good time. That was kind of my thought process.
All right, we're gonna go every other. You want to go heads or tails? First pick, heads or tails?
Tails. Tails never fails.
Tails it is. All right, you got the first pick. Somehow you managed to win the coin toss both times. Where are you going with this?
Well, didn't you hear me say? I said tails never fails.
It hasn't.
I don't even know why you gave me an option.
Hasn't failed yet. All right, what do you got with the number 1 pick here? I think this is, again, the most pressure's on number 1 because I think you should be judged the most, being like, all right, this movie's better than all these other ones, and I think that's hard to argue. I think this movie also should be argued that this might be better in the first movie. Because that's kind of what I'm thinking. To really separate all of these is like, all right, not only is it better than these other movies, it's better in the first movie that's basically based on. So what do you got? Who are you going with?
All right, this one is not as obvious as I think some of the other ones have been, but I'm going to go with The Dark Knight of the Christian Bale franchise. So that is the second one. That is the one with the Joker. I think that it is slightly better than Batman Begins. I definitely think it's better than Dark Knight Rises. So, it's right there in that sweet spot. I think that you're easily able to watch it without having seen Batman Begins. No problems there. And I think that you have just great hero against great villain, a lot of great stunts, an amazing intro, and I feel very confident with that as my first pick.
Good acting. Great soundtrack, some really fun explosions, some of my favorite stunts, some favorite one-on-one acting scenes, just monologues with the Joker. There's a lot of good stuff going on here. As much as I enjoy the whole franchise of the 3 of them, the trilogy of the Dark Knight, I think this is easily the one. This is a perfect example. I had it on my list. I do think this movie is better than the first movie, and I do think it's better than the third movie. So this is the best movie of their franchise. Arguably maybe the best Batman ever. I mean, that newest Batman, I think we both said we really like that, but I'm
Yep.
I'm very fond of this Joker performance, and I think everyone else is as well. So it's a very, very good pick at number one. I think it's worthy. It wasn't my number one on the board, though. I,
Ooh, okay.
I thought there was a clear choice here. I'm shocked you didn't do it. I'm very, very excited to get it. And my draft is already a mess because I thought this was going to go one. Just when I think I know you, and you're not my AI friend. I don't know everything perfectly here. I'm going to go with Top Gun Maverick, Top Gun 2. I think this was head and shoulders better than the first. That's not bashing or destroying or saying the status of the first movie isn't that. I just think over time, that movie might have blew your mind if you saw it when it came out, but now I think it's aged a little bit, and I think the newer version of it has really successfully captured that in a way just that first movie can't compete with. And I very much enjoy this movie as a whole movie. It's far less of a kind of sop romantic. The first one's a little slow. I think every time you go back and watch, you're like, wow, the plane stuff's cool, but man, is this movie slow. And God, I just don't care about Tom Cruise and the romance like at all, ever. But I think in Top Gun 2 it works. I'm very happy with this movie. I think you've already told me you're booking a weekend to come watch Red Zone and you want to come watch this movie at the house here. I'm ready for it. It's been watched before. It's great with the surround sound. Highly recommend it. I thought it was my one-on-one on the board. Did you have it on your list?
Yep, that was number two.
All right. We're doing all right then. Not too far off. All right.
Yeah, you'll definitely enjoy it more if you've seen the first one, but it's like the time in between has been so far apart that you can easily fire it up and have a good time.
All right, number 3. Where are you going?
All right. I think after those two, I think we were both going to go in very different directions, so I think it's going to be fun. I'm going with Lord of the Rings: Two Towers. I think that this one is. I don't think it's better than the third one. I think it might be better than the first one. I mean, obviously they're all really good. I think the battle scene at Helm's Deep is kind of set the standard for fight scenes. Massive battle scenes until the even bigger one in Return of the King. But I gotta imagine this one was not on your list, so probably a silly one to take at this one. But like I said, I think after those first two, I think we're gonna go in wildly different directions.
I didn't have it on my list. It wasn't that I didn't think this movie was good. I just wasn't sure if it was better than the first one. I hadn't seen them all enough. I liked them as a whole. My biggest beef, I think I've told this before, is how much of the story they leave out. Like, there's no conclusion after 1, and there's even kind of less of a conclusion after 2, and finally you get to 3, and you're like, do I even care anymore? I've waited like 6 years for all these to come out, and I don't even remember what happened in the first one anymore. So I liked all of them. It's a solid trilogy. It's not my type of stuff that I particularly enjoy, but I could see it on the list. I saw it on a lot of other people's lists, and if you think the second one's better, is it better than the last one, though?
As I say, I think at the time it was like, oh man, this is like the best fight scene I've ever seen, and just all the choreography and really how they create the the villains. But then the third one comes out, but the sequels, it's not very often that they're better than the originals. So it's just a matter of would you want to watch this sequel, and this is definitely a sequel that I always happy to watch.
We're sticking with the franchises here. At number 4, I'm going to go with John Wick 2. I think, again, this is my favorite one of all of them. I do think if you see the first one, though, it makes the second one better. But if the first one's kind of a proof of concept, the second one is like, all right, let's just really have some fun with this. And as they progress, there's 4 of them now at this point. So they just progressed so far where they just push these limits that I think it gets a little less. I mean, obviously none of it's super realistic. It's a movie, but I think they really test the limits a little too much in some of the later movies, and I'm happy at the level it stays at it too. It's a good range. It's still movie actions. It's still ridiculous, but it's like I've accepted it within this world. And the other movies, I think, get a little bit farther out. We start getting a little out of range here. But I think this movie's awesome. It's a lot of killing. To be honest with you, if that's not your thing, you're not gonna like this movie. I'd compare it to almost a perfect kill streak in a video game choreographed through a movie lens, and it's done very, very well. And I really like the franchise. I mean, I'm into this action movie. I like John Wick. I think Keanu, being the age he's at, is perfect for the character, and I just love the world that it's in. Like, there's a lot of side stuff that's really cool, and they really build into it, and it feels very developed. Did you have John Wick on your list?
I did not have John Wick 2 on my list. I don't think if I could. I mean, I know how like the origin goes, but I think all the movies are pretty similar. So I don't know if I could pick out 2 versus the other 3.
That's fair. They're all very good. I'm not saying
Yep.
like this isn't one where like
Yeah.
they really screwed it up here, did all that. Like it's a good franchise. It's steady. It's consistent. They are very
You can definitely
similar.
throw it on, and you're gonna have a fun ride for sure. Lots of action, like you said, lots of killing.
It's a consistent franchise. I can see why they're all very similar. You could definitely have a favorite throughout any of them. I could even argue the fourth one might even be the best one. Where it's again that they build up this story over years of movies, and it's kind of like, well, I'd like to know how it ends. It's like, well, I got to wait till the last movie. So that's kind of how it all goes. All right, what do you got? Number 5.
For my third pick, again sticking with franchises, I'm going with Rocky 2, the rematch with Apollo Creed. And what's good about this is, it was made a long time ago, and movies made a little bit differently. So the whole first part of the movie is just kind of the ending of the first movie. So if you didn't see the first one, you get just like the very end, all the parts that you need to know going into it. So spoiler alert: Rocky wins the title in this one, where he did not in the first one, which not everyone might remember, even though at the end of that one, Apollo Creed said there ain't gonna be no rematch. There ain't gonna be no rematch. Well, you know what? Boxers, want to make some money, and I think for people for sure would want to have seen that a second time. So yeah, with my third pick, I'm going with Rocky 2.
Is it better in the first movie?
No.
No, it's not. I that's why it's not saying I didn't have it on the list. I just think that the movies we've listed so far are better in the first movie, and that's how I drafted it. We're probably approaching the point here though where I'm not sure if any of these movies are actually better than the first one. I'm gonna go with this last one here. I think this is my last pick that truthfully is better in the first movie, and even that's very, very debatable. And I'm gonna go with Terminator 2. Excellent movie. Again, this is I think a fun switcheroo where I think you were terrified of Arnold in the first one, and the second one you're very excited to kind of be on the side of this and see what he's attacking an even scarier thing. And it's a James Cameron action movie. I mean, who's not into that? I think this is a great second movie. I think this was again building into a world of Terminator, and they kind of go on from here. But I think this is its peak. I think the second movie is better than the first movie, and that's why I'm taking it number 6.
It was fun that they switched that around, where the first one he's the bad guy, and the second one is, like you said, there's even a bigger bad, and now you got to join up with who before was was the bad guy.
All right, number 7. Who you got?
Sticking again with franchises, this one's a little bit different though. I'm going with Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. So that's that's the second one.
Oh,
A little less than the other ones. A little less than the other ones, where with like the franchises where it very much goes in order. Where this was just the just the second one, but I don't think you can go wrong with Harrison Ford, adventure. There's a guy grabbing hearts out of people, and yeah, I like that one as a kid.
No, it's good. It's good. I didn't have it on the list. It's fine. It's good. I just it's dated a little bit to me, and the newest version of it is so bad that it's almost damaged the old ones now, and that's a terrible way to have it. But I just thought again, the movies were cool. I remember seeing them, and I was like, oh, maybe a new version of this would also be cool, and it just wasn't. And now it's like kind of tainted the older versions a little bit, where it's like, oh man, I can't believe we got to this point. Not a bad choice though. And great franchise. I'm just kidding around with the booze. No real beef here. You really went and had some fun with all this. I thought you would. This shouldn't have made it this far, and I kind of wanted to put it on your list just so you would talk about it. But Godfather 2, I think again this is arguably a better movie than the first one. That's very arguable. I think most people would say they probably enjoy the rewatch of all this, even if the first one is a better movie. But I very much like this movie. I think it should have been on this list. I think if you're talking sequels, this is one of them. I like that we kind of picked some older movies here too, though. I think this is making a
you
real
just
mature
called
list.
Indiana Jones dated, and then you go with The Godfather 2.
Well, obviously a lot's changed in all this, but there's ridiculous things in Indiana Jones that if they were to do it today, it would look a lot better. And I think with The Godfather, sure, they would do that for the most part, though. It would still be the same dialogue. I just think they could make Indiana Jones.
When was the last time you threw Godfather 2 on?
Probably last year.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
Look, the
I think I went for more fun movies than maybe
ones without
critically
subtitles.
acclaimed.
Yeah, ones without hours in a different language. Yeah, I could see that being
Yeah,
more fun. Yeah,
yeah.
but I still think
That wasn't the thing. That wasn't. We were going best sequels, and we used best pretty liberally. So I'm not gonna poo poo on this, even though you booed my last pick for some reason.
I just I think it's an easy target at this point. Indiana Jones. It's
You
not.
picked Terminator 2.
I think I would definitely take the Terminator movies over the Indiana Jones franchise. I don't think
Ooh,
that's
okay.
an argument. That's
All
not
right.
that's not an argument. Don't do that. It's like a kids movie versus like an actual movie. All right, don't do that. You put Toy Story 2 on here. All right,
That's
you want that
fine.
instead?
That's what I've been waiting for. That's why I thought we were gonna go different directions. I thought you were gonna hit all of those. I thought it was gonna be Lion King 2. I thought it was gonna be all those that you're gonna hit me with.
First of all, it would have been Paddington 2 first. All right, you're already lost. You get the wrong franchise.
I don't. What is that?
I'm not even going to tell you about it, but if you manage to suffer through the first movie, which is not good, that's one thing. The second movie is very cute. It's good, all right? But if you didn't like the first one, you're probably not going to love the second one, even though the second one's better. Enough. All right, this is kids' animation here. It's no kids are listening to this, and no kids need recommendations from me on what movies they want to watch, all right? It's purely for our fun. Number 9, what do you got?
For my final pick, I'm just gonna stick with franchises because he's never gonna steer me wrong. I'm gonna go with Too Fast, Too Furious.
I should boo this one, though. This isn't better than the first movie. They made so many of them. I'm not even sure this ranks amongst the franchise, but it is the one I've seen the most.
We can go back, yeah, we can go back, to last year and see what the rankings were on it. But this is the first one of the franchise that I saw, and so to me, this is always going to be, it's always a little more special. This is when they were still, more small time and not going to outer space. So just definitely definitely different, but fast cars, girls, fun movie. I can put that on anytime, and it's going to be fun.
I said I was going to have fun with this last pick, so I'm not even going to hesitate to say it. I'm going to go with Rush Hour 2.
Oh, that's a good one. Oh man, I totally missed that one.
Not only do I think it's a better movie, I think the Rush Hour 2 outtakes, which there are times I'll just go on YouTube and just look that up. Just I don't even need to see the movie. I just want to see the outtakes at the end, whether it's Jackie doing some crazy stunt or Chris just not being able to say some line over and over again. It gets me every time. I always enjoy it. I don't entirely love the third movie of all this, but I very much enjoy the franchise of this, and it's a fun one. All right, I could have went with some honorable mentions. I'm sure you have a list of some. What did you have? What didn't make the list?
Just before that, maybe what we should have done was for sequels, if we want to go like less franchise, should have just went with 2 has to be in the name. So you were really good about that with Terminator 2, Godfather 2, Rush Hour 2, where I went Rocky 2, but then the other ones, I mean, Too Fast, Too Furious plays on that, but it's not exactly the same. Of a little more of that old school, like, hey, you like the first one? Well, we don't even have a name for the second one. We're just going to name it 2. But yeah, so for my my honorable mentions, I have The Bourne Supremacy. I have Die Hard 2. Then I went a little more humorous. I went Harold and Kumar Escape from Guantanamo Bay, and Home Alone 2 Lost in New York.
Those are good. Those definitely could have been rearranged. I didn't have those on my list. One I'm shocked you didn't have. Bad Boys 2, I think is the best Bad Boys. It was between that and Rush Hour at the last, but I went with Rush Hour instead. But Kill Bill Volume 2, I think kind of gotta have that in there. I thought Creed 2 was also good. I wasn't sure that was going to count,
sure about
though.
that one.
Does that count? Because that's kind of like a Rocky 7, right? Or whatever.
It seemed like we'd already kind of knew what we were doing, because that was going to be another thing if I thought we were going to kind of overlap was for all the Marvel movies. Is it like, can you only do the second Marvel movie in the lineup? Or is it Iron Man 2 or Thor 2 or like in each pocket? But yeah, that Creed, I saw Creed 2, but it's like, I don't know. And I went with Rocky 2 instead. But I think I would have given it to you. I think you would have been able to argue it and I would have allowed it.
And then Back to the Future 2. Just classic. I think we've already had enough chat about it and all that, but overall, I was encouraged by all this.
The problem with that one is that I feel like you really need to see the first one. And then the third one is like, packed right in with it. Would be my only,
Yeah,
it's an
it
honorable
is.
mention. So it's not a, that's why it's an honorable mention and not officially on the list.
Yeah, I do think it's safe to argue that Back to the Future 2 is almost like Back to the Future 2 Part 1, and then it's the third one is like
Yeah.
Back to the Future 2 Part 2, if that makes any sense at all. Like, I get what you mean, but those are very married together, and Part 1 is
But
completely
yeah, you can make
separate.
the same argument for some of these other movies, as well.
Overall, pretty solid list. I think we did an all right job here. I really thought you were getting Top Gun first. So and then I knew you were going to take Lord of the Rings. I was shocked there wasn't a Harry Potter nonsense getting thrown into all here, but I'm very encouraged that wasn't even an honorable mention. Wasn't even an honorable mention. Oh man,
it was on my list, but it's the second one. That's one where you're gonna watch all of them. You're gonna watch all of them, and then if you're really picking, you're gonna pick some of the later ones, in the list. So if it was just the second one. If we're going for all-time franchises, that's going to be much more closer to the top. But just the second one against some of the other second ones, it was easy to just pick other ones.
I'm really encouraged your AI friend convinced you not to say it. Like, it's good. It was good for the podcast. We didn't need to have another.
Texted me.
We need another Harry Potter
it texted
fight.
me so you guys wouldn't hear it. Yeah, it's going away. It actually gave me a lot of answers on this.
Yeah, just it's the whole list. Look, I think the takeaway from all this is, like, are we sure all sequels are bad? I just think there are some really, really bad sequels, and we could have came up with a list of those. There's plenty of those too, but the movies we mentioned are pretty good movies. Like, I think they hold up. I think at the time maybe you didn't enjoy it so much. Like, something like Hangover 2, where it's like, all right, so we're just gonna do the same thing again somewhere else. Like, is that enough for a second one? I don't know, but the ones we mentioned, I don't think really fall into that trap too much. So I go see sequels, and franchises aren't going away. So I'm sorry about that, but this is maybe not the end of the world. Anything else you want to add to this?
I think it was fun. It's always fun talking movies.
Yeah, one of these days we'll get that Rotten Tomatoes subject in here. It just continuously gets punted right now.
It just ran out of time. We were so close.
This is the Matt Damon will have time next week sort of thing. We're just putting him on the bench. Football happened. Only new thoughts I'm going to ask is, what'd you think of the new kickoff? Are we all right with it? Are you uncomfortable with it?
It's a big change, and it's going to take a while to get used to, especially because college football is not doing it. So the kickoff is going to be very different from Saturday to Sunday, and it's going to take people a long time to get used to it.
It's going to look weird. It's going to look kind of like the NBA doing the in-season tournament. It was like, why are all the courts this color and that design? What is going on? Am I watching the NBA still? It does seem like it starts, and it's like, what am I watching here? Are we sure? Are we doing it right? Do I have the right channel on? Somebody's going to say that. But it's close. It's real close. We're almost there.
So close. It's so close.
All right, we'll be back.
Everybody get excited.
Make sure you subscribe. Little column A, little column B. You can follow us on our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You can also reach Zach on his X account, which is
Wicked Z-Man 24.
Thank you, and we'll be back.
Well, little column A, little column B.